We're gonna
Have a
go.
regular show.
We're gonna have a regular show. We're gonna have a shoe and
Or or a moccasin.
a moccasin. Yeah, because you're gonna throw it at your router. Is what you're gonna do. Is
The question
um
is it really the router's fault? I don't know.
well well I mean the
It could
thing
be.
is
It
I
could
think
be.
it's a bandwidth issue. So it could be your modem. It could
Yeah.
be your router. It could be your ISP. It could be some
Yeah.
combination of three. Or
And it isn't only sound because again the video was involved, so it's definitely
yeah.
yeah.
And closing GTA fixed it immediately, and in the past turning off your camera fixed it. I mean that all smells like bandwidth to me. It ain't Teen
You
Spirit,
know what the other thing? Hang on.
but we're gonna go ahead and open the show. Is what we're gonna
So
do.
the other thing I have going is the Elgato sound capture is on, but that's just the tray.
Why is the Elgato sound
I
capture
think
on?
because I reboot the computer and it just comes on automatically.
And that's a USB device.
No, the software.
Oh, well, that's not going to use bandwidth if the device itself
Well,
is
I know, but
running.
if it's hogging the devices,
Right, but is the Elgato device connected?
and it's not.
Okay, I
And
mean,
I agree, it could.
well,
It could be screwing with the devices. That's all I'm suggesting.
well, you know what? We're going to think about that a bit as we open up
Insert title here.
the show that changes names and
Yeah.
premises and topics so frequently. We had to put a title in about a car that we're not going to show off to you this week. But that's okay, because
Yay!
we're here. We are
Yay.
here, and now I need to change my topic from Grand Theft Auto to just chatting. And I need to figure out where I can change that, because I figured out where to change that before the show, because it was wrong last week, and now we're going to be wrong this week. That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, and apparently I got an ad for Disney Plus streaming, I think.
Disney
ESPN.
Plus?
Oh,
Okay.
it's the bundle. It's got ESPN and
Ah,
Disney and
all the good
probably, yeah, and Hulu.
and Hulu.
$13.99 a month.
There you go. But now the real question on everyone's mind is, why were you late? And we'll explain why we're late, and we'll explain why we're late by doing one of my favoriteest things to do on the internet: corporate shaming. So Brian, who is your ISP? I know we've covered this. I know I've asked this, but I forget the
Comcast.
answer.
Comcast.
Comcast.
Or ComCrap. That's an
ComCrap.
easy name to come up with.
Now, this is difficult because we are both streaming on Comcast, and one
Yep.
of the two of us has a big fucking pipe that rarely has any issues. Knock on wood, and one of us doesn't have a big fucking pipe that never causes problems, and you could guess which is which, because Brian was having one of those weeks this week where he starts up the GTA, he does everything in the right order, he jumps in the room, and I can see him, I can hear him, but he can't hear me. And all he could do is tell me he can't hear me. And all I could do is keep screaming at the microphone, "Turn your fucking camera off, you dipshit!" And he can't hear a word I'm saying because
Yeah.
he's
Actually, what I hear is
I was at the point
like
where I was
he's
like,
having a bad bowel movement.
I was just going camera, 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 figuring that maybe like the syllables would eventually put
Yeah,
themselves
yeah.
together and like a camera would sneak through. But no camera came through.
And when I did turn off the camera, it didn't make any difference anyway.
Yeah, normally it does. This week it
You'd
did
be frozen.
not.
You know, I had you have your hand up. And
Yeah,
you'd be frozen
I was
with your
doing
hand in that
this,
position.
and it looked like this.
So I'm actually was watching the playback of this, so the lag was just really bad. So yeah, that's not how to do it. I just
Yeah.
have that on to get that ad from
Right.
Disney Plus streaming.
Get the
bundle.
ad out of the way. So, unfortunately, we were going to Grand Theft Auto, at least at the top of the hour. Mars has the link. He may or may not jump in. We never know. Sometimes we know. Sometimes we don't. This is one of those times we don't know. So we don't really never know, but we often don't know.
A car full of surprises.
Yeah, I bought another
Yeah.
car. I bought a car, and I was going to show you the surprises and the things it does, but that's going to have to wait for next week. And
Cool.
Dave Games for You writes in, howdy. Hello, Dave. Unfortunately, we're not gaming this week because Brian's bandwidth sucks. So instead, we're going to talk about the pitfalls of gaming with bad bandwidth. And so now, Brian, do you know what bandwidth package you're in with your Comcast service
Probably
provider?
the cheapest you can get.
The cheapest. See, I'm not.
By the way, I think it's Comcast or might be somebody
Mm-hmm.
else that advertise 5G Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Does that actually exist?
it exists, but and I don't. I know there's issues with 5G and interference and how widespread it is. So the whole like going out in the world with a 5G phone and getting 5G is probably problematic and probably, in the works and will improve as time goes, but it's never going to, did your world
Does
change?
that mean you're gonna get rid of your cable and use a 5G phone or a 5G device
No.
to do your Wi-Fi
No.
with?
You know what? Did going from 3G to 4G on your phone change your world?
Gradually got better, because you weren't
Right.
always doing
But
4G.
It didn't change your world. It was just, the next
really.
evolution in
Yeah.
the how fast phones can do things. That's what 4G to 5G is going to be. It's just another, stepping stone evolution. I wouldn't use
Sure.
any G for my home internet, but who knows,
Right.
Keep an eye
Well,
on it.
I mean, you would use it if you're using unlimited data, right?
Right. But
I don't have unlimited
Us-
data, so I wouldn't use that.
usually,
In fact, I usually connect my devices to my Wi-Fi router,
Mhm.
or like if I'm a hotel, I use their Wi-Fi.
usually unlimited data is unlimited data with an asterisk up on the top of
Yes,
there, and then a bunch of
exactly.
tiny print that scrolls across the screen with a fast rambling voice. Only on Tuesday on the full moon on the second
Right.
Tuesday of the month on after Thursday.
Well,
That type of-
so the thing is, so if you were going to run data 5G, you'd connect your television on it and use a streaming service almost exclusively and even drop cable altogether. So your only connection is the 5G.
Mm.
So when that asterisk comes into play,
yeah.
you're sitting there wondering, what did I do before television?
Yeah, but
Or
now
internet.
Dune jumped in the middle and said, "Brian got unlimited data." No. Brian's got limited Wi-Fi, but he's asking about these 5G things, and I'm like, I don't know. I haven't even read up on it because to me it's not worth my time because there's no way that's like replacing.
Well, when you
things yet.
go when you go DuckDuckGo or Wikipedia and search for 5G Wi-Fi, you get nothing.
Okay. Well, let's talk about
But I assume that's what they mean. What do they mean? It's almost like, hey, Comcast or whoever it is, what do you mean by 5G Wi-Fi? Google doesn't even know. Google, have you invented this? Google doesn't know about it.
Well, here's what I would suggest. All right, first of all, do you own your equipment or do you rent your equipment from Comcast?
I own my equipment because I'm cheap.
Okay, all right. And how long ago did you buy?
In fact, a friend of mine had his own equipment. He was having difficulties. He decided, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to use Comcast's crap.
Mm-hmm.
It is supposed to be light years better, but it's not.
Here's the
It's
thing.
not.
I've done both. I've done both. I've done the Comcast equipment. I've done my own equipment, and they both will work. Now the problem with Comcast equipment is that yes, sometimes the equipment is crap. And when I've run into the situation where the Comcast equipment was crap, I called Comcast up and they replaced it. And I think there was one time where I actually went through 3 crap routers, and that's when I said, okay, fuck this, I'm gonna buy my own. Yeah, and I've, it all depends on what my feelings are at the time and what my budget is, because there's pros and cons to each. You
Sure.
use Comcast equipment; they have the equipment that they know is compatible with their network, and they're responsible for it. And all you have to do is say, "Send me a new one," and they say, "What's the address?" And they used to send a return label to ship it back, but now they make you, like, drop it off at a UPS store or wait in line at their center to pick up a new one. But it used to be they would just ship it, and that was easy peasy. And
The interesting thing is, I went to a store probably, how long ago was it? Maybe a year ago. And they really do nothing. They don't talk about the plans. They don't show you what a deal is.
Yeah.
They're just there to take the equipment and give you a new one.
Well, Dave Games, for you, writes in that he has Frontier Fiber there, and it's fantastic when it works, but had an outage of a week one time. That sucked. Oh, man. That
A whole week. Oh, God.
I wouldn't be able to.
Actually, my
like,
folks were using a landline
yeah.
that was a Verizon landline. No, was it Verizon?
Mhm.
Yeah, Verizon. Verizon sold it to Frontier. And it's like, hey, Frontier, why didn't you bring on the Verizon employees that knew what was going on?
Ah, that
The
sucks.
transition was really bad.
So,
I mean, it worked, but it was poor.
Yeah. Nah, heck, if my internet goes out for a week, it's like, well, I guess I'm taking a week vacation. Because how am I
Yeah, really.
how am I going to work from home?
Yeah,
without
right. I'm
my,
working from home. Yeah.
Yeah. But
See,
anyways,
this is the thing.
yeah.
Should your employer be paying for your Wi-Fi at home, since you're working at home?
That's funny. The thing is that I remember there was a period of time. Now, I got a job, my first IT job, I got at a bank up in Maine.
Yeah.
And let me get this story before we split any tangents, because I could already sense it's that kind of a week with you. But so I get this job at the bank.
Let me jump the gun real quick. I know they gave you a paid for a CompuServe account, so you can
Absolutely not. You are completely wrong. You are wasting everyone's time.
That was for the laugh. For the laugh.
For the laughs. For the laughs. That is
okay. Continue with your.
So yeah, I got the job at the bank, and part of the bank stipulation was that I had to take pager duty, because when you work at a bank, there's the processes that work overnight, and they have to go through overnight so that all the daily transactions of the bank are processed.
Here's the big reveal. Johnny is old enough to know what a pager is.
Well,
Sorry,
you know what? I don't. That is a good point. We barely used it was outdated then.
Exactly.
It was absolutely outdated then. The pager did 2 things. One, it paged us different steps that were completed in the overnight process, and 2, it sent way too many alerts to be useful, so everyone ignored it every time it beeped during the day.
Was it automated pages?
Yeah,
so the process would just send you the text?
Right. There used to be an overnight employee that would hit enter periodically.
Oh.
And then at some point they bought a software package that would let them automate mouse clicks and time-based things and whatever. So that way, as long as everything went as it was expected, it could automate the whole process. And at certain points, it would trigger a page to be sent to the pager. So you could see, oh, okay, the backup finished. Oh, okay, that process finished. Oh, okay, that's finished. Oh, okay, that's done. And it was a type of thing that was annoying because,
there's 2 sides of it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's cool use of technology. The second side is your word, annoying.
Yeah. Well, the annoying thing is that since it was something you just only check periodically, it would be very easy to forget to check it. So it's the type of thing like, you check where it is before you go to bed, and then you want to check it to make sure it's finished, because if, you're starting work the next day and Nightly didn't finish, the bank can't open. And if the bank can't open, that's bad.
That sucks.
Then people are like, taking in work without being able to run it into the computer and then piling it up to process later, and you basically threw everyone off for a day. And there were times that I come into work one morning whistling a nice happy tune, blissfully ignorant of the fact that I completely fucked up, and my boss would look at me and say, "How'd Nightly go last night?" And I'd realize that the pager was sitting on the table by the couch, and I didn't look at it at all since like 8 p.m. the night before. and at that point, you have two choices. One, be honest and say, "I have no idea. I completely forgot. Let's go check that." Or two, lie through your teeth and say it went fine. And then you're in double trouble if it happened to not go fine, but you're off scot-free if it went fine. And I'm a good person. I'm an honest person. So,
I know it.
and I figured if I lied about it, that would be the day it didn't. So I'm like,
If you lied, you could be a company vice president.
But the point of this is that this process required me to have home internet. And I found out that one of my coworkers was getting like a certain monthly credit in his paycheck to contribute towards his home internet fees.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You are?" And he's like, "You're not?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess I," and then like my coworker's boss, because we technically I was not hired as help desk, but I have a way of molding my job into what I want it to be rather than getting promoted to the job I want. But I was reporting up to like the data services person, and he's reporting up to the network administrator. And the network administrator was cool with me, and he's like, "Yeah, you should totally be getting that credit every month. You should put in for You need to talk to Patty, your boss Patty, and he'll put you in for that." And so and mind you, the problem is this happens like after like 6 months to a year of working there. So I go, "Hey, Patty, I understand there's like a $50 monthly credit towards like internet service that people are eligible for if they use internet from home." And she goes, "Well, when we promoted you to this job, you came with the understanding that you were expected to have home internet to complete that job. So you're not eligible for that."
So then did you take those expenses and deduct them from your taxes?
I should have told my dad this story.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can go back, what would they be, 20 years or so?
I can't do that now. That is just not, but anyways, so, that was I wasn't going to fight that because, precedent had been set and, Patty was one of the bad bosses. I've had good bosses. I've had bad bosses. Patty was one of the bad bosses. Yeah. She was, cranky old bitch face lady. She,
well, she's probably looking at her own expenses and decided, "Oh no, I got a promotion so that I could pay for my own Wi-Fi."
Yeah. The problem.
I mean, that's why I suggest to people, you should have your own personal cell phone and have a company cell phone. Granted, it's a pain to be carrying two cell phones, but if you need one for work, they should give it to you.
Guara Damariscotta, Maine. Anyways, that's. We're gonna have to edit that in post. I don't know.
It sounded like you said it in code.
No. That was absolutely exactly what was asked for.
That made it funny.
I don't give two shits about that bitch anymore. I really don't. Fuck that bitch. Fuck. The problem with Patty was that she had gotten approval to hire someone to kind of be her assistant, to hand off some things that she was too busy for. But the way that they got approval to create that job position and let people apply for it was to basically make it a person that was going to help out with Patty with her stuff and help desk with their stuff. and that way
So split duties.
right, it'd be someone that would come in to do do a bunch of IT busy work is what it would be, because she was responsible for the bank's core banking system. So she was yes, she was IT in a sense, but like she was also the overseer of the back office of the bank, the people that are processing all the work that comes in and balancing all the processes and the nightly so she was supervising over all of that, which made her, basically supervisor over the bank computer system. So she was IT in that sense. And I came in with a real not a background, because that was my first IT job, but I came in with a prepared to start a career in IT support, help desk, sysadmin type stuff. I mean, I had a good foundation to build on that, having a background with computers, but banking core system stuff, not so much. And she didn't have time to train me, which is why she was hiring someone to help her out with stuff. So I come in prepared to learn, be trained, whatever, take on IT stuff. And she's like, well, just go help John with that stuff, or, go work on this stuff and go do that stuff. And then like fast forward a year later, and she's frustrated that I'm doing all the stuff that she didn't hire me for, and I'm not doing the stuff that she did hire me for. And it's
because
like,
she didn't train you.
Yeah. And it's like, you let this happen,
Yeah.
And so what they ended up doing was they decided that they were going to make a new position for a help desk person, which was essentially what I was doing. So they decided to hire someone to do my job so that they could shift me back over to doing the job that they wanted me to do. And they didn't even offer me that job. They said, if you'd like, you could apply for that job, but we're not going to just give it to you. And then if you get that job, then we would list your job and hire for that. And that goes back to the fact that Patty and I were at odds. We were not getting along at all.
And I would think that the thing to do is, I have to apply for that job. No problem. Here's the resume. Well, I've been doing the job already.
Well, actually, it turned into, oh, you're going to make me apply for that job? Because she pretty much told me, I expect you're going to apply for it because I know that's exactly what you're going to want to do because it's what you're already doing. Right. And I basically said, well, how about this instead? How about instead I don't apply for that job and in 2 months I move to California? And she's like, oh, okay. Can I get that in writing? And I wrote my resignation. God. So that was... It didn't make sense to apply for the help desk job when in a number of months and it might have been more like 3 months. It was certainly long enough out that I was a bit pissed off that I had to keep staying.
Well, which position would look better on the resume?
You know what? It doesn't matter. Because
what was your title of the old position?
Like, you know what? That's a good question, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because the way I wrote the resume, I listed out the categories of the stuff I did, which was, fix their backup systems and organize it and maintain the computer image and stuff like that.
Right,
so even though the title didn't say service desk, the description says service desk.
Yeah.
But
you use the quote unquote official title on your resume.
Yeah, I just need to find my resume here.
Works assistant.
Well, no. You know what? I once actually made reference to that. Like, hey, we'll figure that, because that's the thing is that if I was going to stay there, I would have found a way to make it work, tailor my job to make my boss happy, and get her off my fucking back. My job title at the bank was Data Services Associate. And that's
cool.
Yeah. And the big thing that she wanted me to be was the level 2 administrator of the bank's core system. But I did a lot more of other stuff than that.
It kind of floors me that she didn't actually train you for that, though.
That was the thing.
Or this is a system that you purchased, or is this an in-house grown system?
It was a system that it wasn't our in-house system. It was a system. The system was called Phoenix, and actually, the funny thing is that right around the time I left is when they were deciding, because they had like all these policies and procedures and things written out, that every certain number of years, they need to review the bank's core system and get quotes for other systems, and then make a decision if it makes the best sense to stick with the same system or switch to one of the other systems or offers that they got. And they actually made the decision to switch bank systems, like, around the time I was leaving is when they were getting prepared for that. So I got out the door before, because that involved all-nighters.
Sometimes, getting out. I mean, it depends. Sometimes getting out before they put in a new system is better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to hang in there with the conversion process, even though it's all-nighters. Hopefully, they'd be bright enough to pay a bonus. But the fact that they knew that you were leaving was an incentive for them. This guy doesn't need a bonus. He's leaving anyway.
It's funny. They had a few internal applicants that were applying for my job as I was getting ready to leave. And so they wanted me to kind of show the people who were applying the ropes of what I do and the ins and outs and things like that. And, so I'm like, I could show them the things I do, but all the things I do are the things that you're going to transition over to the guy you hired for help desk. So I'm basically showing them what the job's not going to be.
Right. You won't be doing this, but here.
You won't be doing this, but this is what I do. Well, they had me sit down and show the people these things, and then like the next week they had me transition those things over to the other guy. So it was like, you mean all the stuff that I showed them? They're not going to do that. So that was all a waste of their time.
So what you were describing there was an offline backup. In other words, the system can't be running during the backup process, right?
Well, the system can't be running during the backup, and basically it's applying all the day's changes to the core bank database.
Sure. Right. Right. So the system is offline.
Well, the point of that was that they wouldn't pay me for my internet service service.
So when I first got into SAP, I was doing administrative type works.
Right.
And one of the things was learn how the database works, learn how to do backups, learn how to do the what they call the logs, the log entries. So if you're restoring from a backup, you take the logs and apply those to the restored backup. Anyway, so we were told in training that you had a choice of either online backup or offline backup. Okay.
Offline
backup basically means the system's down.
Okay. Right.
The regular user didn't like that, right?
Right.
We were told that the online backups did not work by the experts.
Well, makes sense.
And after a while, because we had users bitching at us, we just went to online backups, and they actually did work.
Well, they work unless they don't.
Well, in fact, we had an issue. We were running our backups, we were keeping our logs. We had some idiot come into the computer room with all the sound walls and all that and hit the big red button that was inside the door.
Now, people are noticing that
in Tharco, they had the big red button outside the door.
Yeah, people are noticing my nervous twitch whining cord habits here, and they're speculating that I'm going to be tweeting about this cord breaking. Well, here's the thing. It's a pretty solid cord, and it's the type that coils, and you can take the coil and wrap it around your fingers, and you can fling it around a little bit. And let me tell you, I've had these headphones a long time, and this is only the second cord. So, yes, I have worn one of these out.
Anyway, so a guy hit the red button, which means it just shut off all the power to the computer room, right?
Uh-huh. Right.
Bring the computer system back up. Of course, our database was Oracle. Oracle says, we are fucked up. Restore from backup.
Okay.
So we went through the process to restore the backup. We were restoring the logs, and then it stopped and said, we're still out of place. So we had to call to the SAP guru that knew all about the Oracle database, and he says, "Oh, that's really simple. It's not documented anywhere, but what you do is you set a time in which restore up to this time that it works."
Ah,
Which was kind of a random time. It's like, oh, okay, that's easy. We just set it to this time, and it came up.
oh, there you go. Cool.
So my guess is when people were saying that an online backup doesn't work, they didn't understand that part of the restore that made it come back online.
Right. The online backup is complicated and requires a certain level of knowledge, and whereas the offline is simple and basic
Tharco,
and just works.
They used Informix, which I don't believe ever had that problem. Tharco got sold on Informix, which is sort of unfortunate because, well, if you get Informix, you don't need a database administrator.
Well, the whole point
we didn't have a trained Oracle administrator, so it kind of really didn't matter.
We didn't have a trained any administrator. Well, we had,
no, Dale had training.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he knew how to do.
Well, I remember it was funny because I remember any time that I called support for the document imaging, which was the, what was that, Ixos.
Yes.
Anytime I called their support, they would say, "Oh, that's a database issue. You need to refer that to your database administrator." And I would go to Dale and I would say,
"That is horseshit." But
I would say, yeah. Well, it took me a few times to figure out that was their horseshit excuse because I'd say, "Dale, who's our database administrator?" He goes, "We don't have one. They're our support. They support." And that's the thing is that, and they were trying to claim, well, that's a database problem. That's not our software. That's not our responsibility. And it's like, okay, but we pay you tens of thousands of dollars every year to support this, and it's not working. So like.
Well, I mean, SAP would support whatever database that came with the system, and they offered Oracle or Informix. Of course, Informix got sold to somebody else. I forget who.
I mean, they would support it, but I'd have to fight them every time to make them support it. You know, I'd have to. It was. Well, the big problem with that was that we were on such an old version of it that barely anyone that worked for the company knew how to use the version we were on.
In fact, I don't remember. Was that running on Informix or was that on an Oracle database?
I don't know what the database was. I know there was a Linux server that it was running on, and you know, it was.
Oh, it could have been MySQL or something like that.
I don't know. All I know is that usually most problems gravitated around the jukebox.
Yeah.
Because it had that 4-drive jukebox that would read those like 5 gig optical platters, and the drives were all refurbished drives. That had a 50-50 chance of being in working condition out of the refurbished packaging that we got them in. And there was one time that we got to the point that all 4 drives were dead. 4 replacement drives come in. 2 of them are dead right out of the package. So we were back up to 2 drives.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the garbage.
So as far as I'm concerned, they had a 50% success rate based on that one experience alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a horrible, horrible system, and it probably.
By the way, hi, Sparky Toaster.
Hello, Sparky Toaster. Anyways, but the point of that whole tangent was that you were talking about, like, I guess getting paid for internet service for work or whatever. And that was my story about the time that I should have, and I never did because Patty's a bitch.
Right.
With her.
And you had already decided to move to California.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the conversation about being compensated happened before that. Yeah. But anyways, we'll see if Dune has tracked her down yet. Dune must still be looking.
And then you kind of go, by the way, do your sales people? Well, they don't really have that many salespeople, do they?
You know what's funny is that I've encountered Patty a few times since working there, because I have some people that I worked with there that I get along with. Yeah. They're all people who are not named Patty, and so one time
have you talked to somebody at the bank recently that you used to work with?
It's been a long time. You know, ever since John stopped flossing, I don't have anything to email him about. I'll wait for you to ask.
I'm kind of dumbfounded on what question to ask.
Okay. What the heck does John's flossing have to do with anything?
Right,
I think
exactly.
is the question that you were trying to
Let's see,
come up with.
banking and flossing.
Well,
No,
what?
I can't come up with anything.
Well, there was a dentist right across the street from the bank, and that's where me and John would go to get our dentistry done because I had the dental plan with work, and I didn't know where to find a dentist. And John goes, "Well, there's a dentist right across the street. I go see him." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I go see him." And so at some point after lunch, he
You
finishes
mean
his
the
lunch.
dental plan didn't have a list you could look at?
It probably did somewhere. I didn't come with the card that I got, you know.
Of
So
course, right.
Sparky Toaster.
Well, actually, what cracks me up when you talk about,
Well, it didn't
well, let's
last
just say
long.
medical plan rather than just dentist.
Yeah.
They'll have an online thing on looking for the specific medical thing that you're looking for, a dentist, a doctor, a lab, etc. Then you have the person to call, and then you have a booklet,
Right.
right? None of those agree whatsoever.
Right. Well, Sparky Toaster writes in, Brian is speechless. There is a first for everything.
See
And,
that? See
so-
that?
So the thing is that I reached a point in my life where I decided the best way to deal with the dentist is brutal honesty. So,
Of course.
because every
Yeah.
time you go and you're sitting in that chair, now you and I and everyone listening at home, we all know that we ain't flossing, and we all know that there's no amount of money in the world that would make us floss. That's just, you know, there are two types of people: those who don't floss and those who lie to their dentists. Those are the two types of people in the world.
Well, okay, first of all, they know you're lying. They know you're lying.
Yeah, exactly.
They
So
just
why
look at your teeth and
why
say,
are we even bothering
you
with
ought
this
to
shit?
Now, so I've been with this dentist for well over 20 years.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
And she's getting a little older naturally.
right.
Her sons are both into dentistry. One works at an outfit in Castro Valley, who I visited once last year. He did my root canal.
Okay.
Isn't that fun? And then I started seeing the other son that's working with her doing the basic teeth cleaning and stuff
Mhm.
like this. And I don't think she ever gave me the flossing lecture,
Right.
right?
Well,
But 2
you're a
years
lost cause
ago,
at this point.
I
at
started
your age.
working with him. No, she never did from day one.
Oh, okay.
That's
cool.
not her thing. Anyway,
Right.
so about 2 years ago, I started going with working with him, and she would do some of the other work. If it was working with a crown or putting in a filling, she would do that work. He would be doing the basic stuff. Anyway, so first time on, he's giving me the lecture on flossing. And I go, okay, so I haven't heard that lecture in a long time. I need to actually do something about it.
Mhm.
So I went to Amazon and bought a Waterpik water flosser. Right?
Okay.
And I kind of actually like it a lot better than
Uh,
that stupid string in your mouth.
yeah.
Who thought of that dumb idea? Anyway, so
Dentists.
the next year when I saw him again, or it might have been actually 6 months later, I says, oh, by the way, I got the Waterpik water flasher and I kind of like it. I'm thinking of writing a review for it on it.
Uh-huh.
And he actually lit up like, yeah, that's cool. Now, he never really said that my teeth actually look better, which so
Well,
I
There
kind
you
of was
go.
hoping a little better feedback.
you're hoping you would say, yeah, I see the improvement.
Anyway, so the last time I saw him, which was a week ago, I think,
Uh-huh.
already forgetting how long it's been. And I said, oh, by the way, I didn't write that review yet. The problem is that they need to do a better job at waterproofing it. You pick up one of those Oral-B electric toothbrushes, cordless. Those are very waterproof. They
Mhm.
will last for decades.
Okay.
The switch on my Waterpik has crapped out already.
Oh.
And you can tell that there's some amount of moisture inside, which you cannot get. You cannot open it to dry it out.
Hmm.
The only opening
Well-
is pop open the battery compartment
Yeah.
and dry that out, but that doesn't do enough.
You could put it in the oven.
The whole thing?
Yeah, why not? Gotta dry it all out, right?
Yeah, that would work really well.
Or microwave.
Yeah,
Even
that
outside
would
in the
work
sun.
really well.
Oh, put it in a jar of rice.
Actually, I did
So-
use a hair dryer to heat it up a little bit,
So,
but I've kind of set it aside. I don't
well,
even know
you'll
where
have
the thing
to
is
you
right
have
now.
to get the other one or whatever. So, anyways, going back to my story.
Yes.
So one day, after I go to see this dentist, whatever, we're eating lunch, and after lunch, John, because we shared an office, me and John, and so after lunch, John pulls out a packet of dental floss and starts flossing his teeth, and I'm like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh, last time I saw the dentist said that I need to floss more," and I said, what are you bullshitting them for? You're not going to keep this up. He's like, no, I think I will. I think I'm going to keep this up. I'm like, no way you're not keeping this up. And so this turned into a thing that, and this was close to the time that I left the job. So, every few months, I would send him a little email out of nowhere asking him if he's still flossing. And I kept this up.
Taking the job of the dentist.
Yeah,
so are you still doing that? Needle.
So I think I reached a point when throughout my time in California, about once a year, I would send him an email randomly at some random point to his work email address and ask, "Hey, John, you still flossing?" And I just said that. That's all I would send. I wouldn't, say, "Hey, this is going on here, and here's how, how are you doing? How are things with the baby or whatever?" No, it was just, "Hey, you still flossing?" And at some point, he wrote back and said, "Well, I have to admit, I have not been keeping up with my flossing lately," and that ended it. What can I do from there? I can't ask him, "Hey, have you started flossing again?"
Maybe he just said that too. Maybe he was flossing, but he wanted you to shut up.
Just wanted to get rid of me. So yeah, that was. But we,
how is he going to respond to this?
But we stayed in touch a bit, and so there were when I went back and visited Gothard up in Maine, I might make a point to swing by the bank one day and go grab some lunch with him so we can kind of catch up, things like that.
Yeah.
And so one time I do that, and I go to the bank, and of course, being a non-bank employee, I have to ring the phone for someone to come meet me at the door to the back office area and sign into the log.
Right.
And so I come in there, and Patty opens up the door, and me and Patty have this routine.
Good friend.
Right. We had an understanding. Anytime I visited the bank afterwards and we, crossed paths, we both pretended that we were happy to see each other, even though we both knew that there was no way either of us was happy about this.
Yeah,
that was our understanding. That's society. We live in a civilized society. You nod, you smile, you keep your thoughts to yourself about.
Nobody's pulling out a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. So, some areas of Maine, though.
Now, you might have a hole burned through your head, the back of your head, as she stared at you after you passed.
Well, it was funny because I was doing a better job of keeping up on the useless pleasantries than she was, because, she was there with someone else, and she hands me the log, and I'm saying, "Hey, it's good to see you," and stuff like that, which are all things that are preventing me from filling out my name on the log. And she's there trying to get to lunch. So basically she said, "Screw this, it'll be quicker if I just go get him," and just stormed off. And then she came. So she didn't do a very good job of pretending to be happy to see me the last time I was there, because we said hi, we exchanged our pleasantries, and then she was like, "You're taking too long. I'll go get him." Put the log book down. I want to get the fuck out of here and stop talking to you.
What you do is you say, instead of getting him here, just bring him the dental floss.
There you go.
There would be eyes staring at the back of your head,
now,
boring holes through it.
What was really funny was that now I mentioned how I got along with the other help desk guy and his supervisor, the network administrator. Well, around the time that they decided to reorganize the department and hire a help desk person, they turned the help desk administrator job to strictly paper pusher, and they promoted John that I worked with to be the supervisor over the service desk person. So this new paper pusher guy that they hired, because the old network administrator, he didn't want to be a paper pusher, so he quit and he went and he got another job that still involved putting his hands on technical equipment, not just pushing paper. So the new paper pusher guy, he only worked with me a few months. So I go there to visit one time. Patty and I, have our little tense exchange of like, hey, nice to see you. Things are great in California, especially since you're not there. Things are great here at the bank, especially since you're not here. Great. I'm glad we had this conversation. So I passed the paper pusher guy in the hall. He goes, oh, hey, it's good to see you again. Stop by my office before you leave. And so I stopped by his office and he goes, we have an opening for a help desk person. By any chance, do you want to move back to Maine? And so, that was funny because clearly not everyone shared Patty's opinion of me. And I know that, but you would think that after I left, Patty would have badmouthed me enough to the other managers that this guy wouldn't want to, but he was just like, hey, if you're coming back here, we could use a help desk person. Well, the thing is that anyone I helped as help desk has nothing but good things to say about me. My problems have only been with supervisors. And only with the types that are idiots, which happen to be, in the world of supervisors.
Typical supervisor, yeah.
Now, Sparky wants to know, have we heard about the car full of surprises yet? Well, that was going to be a Grand Theft Auto thing, but Brian's bandwidth is causing problems. So there is
I would fix that, but then I would be off the show.
Okay. So, yeah, we have all the floss jokes. And Sparky Toaster suggests you put the thing in a jar of rice. But so Brian, you own your equipment. When did you purchase the equipment? How old is it?
I can even look it up. I bought it from Amazon.
All right. Now OX64 writes in, Patty said she would gladly fix the issue. Dune writes in, F you, Brian. I was an awesome supervisor. Wait, did you say something about Dune's ability to supervise?
Oh, I'd totally work for. I'd work for Dune.
Yeah, I would.
He would be the best. He would be the best.
The problem is, I put too many dots in my emails, and I don't really mean anything about horses. So I have a feeling if I work with Dune, that might cut into our friendship. OX64 writes that as long as Johnny doesn't break the headphone cord. No, the headphone cord is durable. It is durable. It is, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. While you look that up, I'm going to, There we go. I got my fidget spinner. There we go. I'll just play with the fidget spinner, and maybe I'll leave the cord alone if I have my fidget spinner. So what I'm going to suggest, Brian, is that you might want to run some speed tests. And
Okay.
So tell me what you found.
So in May of 2018, I bought an Aris surfboard.
Okay.
I think that used to be. It doesn't have the model on the order. Damn it.
Well, let's get into just
because
kind of
it has no picture. Oh, there it is. There's a picture now.
Now, Dune's going to write you up, apparently. Or maybe he's writing me up for not signing in on the logbook in a timely manner.
Sorry, boss.
OX64 writes in, Dune will be a great supervisor until the morning you come in and bring up politics. Then you're fired. I don't think that's allowed. Is that allowed? I don't think that's
only if you're being disrespectful.
Right. And you know what? I don't think Dune would be that way. I mean, keep in mind, yes, if Dune and I talk politics, it usually is not a happy conversation. But on the other hand, Dune and I have maintained many years of friendship. So I think he could handle coworkers, employees, people reporting to him that have differences of opinions of him. I mean, that's all there is to it. Dune writes in, I don't know what happened. It appears Johnny fell on my hand and hit his throat 4 or 5 times.
Okay, so on my list with Amazon, I have actually 3 modems.
Okay.
Okay.
3.
One was 2018.
Okay.
One was 2012, and the other was 2011. I suspect that at least one of them has been replaced, because I have 2 houses.
Oh, okay.
Now, let's look at routers.
Okay. Well,
because my router actually is more recent, I think.
Okay. Now, do you know which house has
Okay,
the
so
modem?
the router I'm using here.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, that's the beach house. The one in the beach house is 2021.
Okay.
The one here is 2017, July.
We can always trade. That wouldn't
I have
be a
this
bunch of
Belkin
work.
that is no longer used anymore.
Oh. Well,
that's the one that I had here.
Well, here's your homework, Brian. I would find out what your service agreement is with the ISP, meaning what bandwidth are they advertising that you're supposed to be getting, and then I would run a speed check and see if the speed check measures out at the same numbers as they're advertising. And then
that's actually never happened.
That's never happened? Not even in the ballpark?
No. Let me see if I have the speed test on.
Well, if you run that now, it's gonna mess up your. Well, yeah, actually, do that. That's easier.
Which speed test do you like the best?
They're all shit. Now, Sparky writes in, isn't the speed on your bill? Yeah, but I stopped getting those mailed. But then he'd have to go look that up. And as we found out, it really doesn't matter what he looks up. It just wastes a bunch of time while we watch him stare at his phone.
Right,
so,
right.
It doesn't change what my advice to him is going to be.
Oh, speed test. Hot dang.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, go. It knows that I'm Comcast Xfinity.
Right. And now we've tricked Brian into muting himself by clicking that go button to eat up his bandwidth. And what provider? Comcast. He is using Comcast just like I am using Comcast, except that his Comcast sucks and my Comcast doesn't. Now, Sparky Toaster says you can't run a speed test while using other applications. It will not be valid. Well, this is just to ballpark it right now. Obviously, I'm going to suggest he do this multiple times throughout the week. The best speed test, isn't that the one detected by the ISP and fakes the speeds? Yeah.
Don't use the one recommended by.
Don't use that one. Yeah, don't use the one that fakes
stupid Microsoft pop up an app.
Oh.
Okay, so the download is 319.
Okay.
And the upload is 11.5.
All right. Now, what are you supposed to be getting?
I think I actually have a bill on this computer. Let me see if I can find it. Come on, Comcast. Come on, Danville. Oh, that's old. Fuck. Of course, I moved them, and so it's really in a different spot. Oh, God, where is it? Services, crap, yes.
Okay.
Most recent bill is
Mm-hmm.
January, February, even March.
Oh, there you go. And
where is it on the?
So you're getting 300 down, 10 up. Is basically the ballpark. Now, Vivek Dune suggests DSL reports. Sparky Toaster likes fast.com. OX64 is looking to trade speeds with you. Dune says that's not horrible what you were just getting. And Sparky Toaster's ISP speed test makes the speed slower. So DSL reports and fast.com are recommended, but we're looking for what the advertised speed was versus your 300 down, 10 up. And Sparky points out the same thing I was thinking. 300 down shouldn't be having issues. Now, I'm getting like 600 down, 20 up, so I've got double what he has. So we know that I've never had a problem with double of what he has. Well, Dune says I have 3 packages, 50, 300, 1200. Well, somehow I've got something in between those. But heck, maybe I have 1200. And
actually, the bill does not say.
Well, if you were to, during the week, go to log into the Comcast site, it should give you your account information. So
Yeah,
I would recommend doing so. Well, so you know what? Maybe you had.
I'm surprised it doesn't even say what tier. That's weird,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Dune actually looked up what they have in your town.
Secure.
So you got the middle. You know what? Dune just pointed out that he looked up in your town that they have 3 packages, 50, 300, 1200. So you must have the 300 package, which means you'd have to pay for the deluxe package to go up from there. So
Right.
you should be able to manage this. So even though we're having symptoms of a bandwidth issue,
Yeah.
your bandwidth test's good. Of course, a bandwidth test only tells you how good it is in one small moment of time.
Sure.
So I'm not sure. You know, it could be worth. Now, you have newer equipment in one house than the other house because you have one new modem and one older modem. Now, I guess one modem was 2018 and the other one was 2012. Which house has,
something like that. Yeah.
Which house has the 2012 modem? Is that at your?
I think that's the older one.
You think that's it? That's in the house you're at now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm going to have to look at the model numbers because actually you can look up the recommended modem models with Comcast.
So it might be, but then again, I'd hate to recommend replacing a modem when I don't have any strong evidence that that's our problem. We're going to make any change.
Right.
And this is the part of my job I hate because you could, go through the potential things, you could test things, and then you can come with, well, I don't know, maybe replacing those things might help. That's why I love it when I have an end user that says, oh, Comcast provides me the equipment, because I'm like, oh, shit, have them send you a new free box.
Right, exactly.
Leave me the fuck alone and go get a free box from them.
Oh, so kind of a side note
Yeah.
about February 22nd, I have a web monitor for my solar panels.
Okay.
That way I can just use my phone to see how it's doing, right?
Right.
Well, late February, about February 22nd, it crapped out, and I went in, and you log into it. It's a Windows box. You log into it through a browser. It has a static IP. So you log into it and you see what's going on. Well, the router did not see that IP address.
Huh.
You could ping it and the ping would respond, but when you look at the list of router of equipment, that IP address wouldn't even show up. But about a week ago, I came up with the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
I tried all kinds of crap. I got a cord to connect directly to the device, but the setup is kind of complicated. You have to goof around with your IP setup on your computer to make it work. I couldn't get it to work. I was like, no, that's too complicated. I could have put more effort to it, but quite frankly, that's where I was getting bored.
All right.
Anyway, so I was looking at the cable. The cable is fine. It goes to a hub here, and then the hub goes to the router. Most of the things are plugged into this hub.
So you got
the router.
So maybe you got a hub router conflict.
So what I did, it turns out that the hub is not that far from the router. I pulled the connect cable out of the router and put it directly to the hub.
Okay.
And it works.
There you go. Okay, interesting. Well, speaking of wires, now the laptop you're trying to game on the GTA from, that's a laptop, right?
Yep.
And are you using Wi-Fi or do you have a wired connection going to that?
Wired.
Okay. Because Sparky Toaster was asking that. All right, so you're going hardwired and you're still having bandwidth issues. Did you ever have that laptop connected to Wi-Fi?
If I'm in the beach house and we're doing a show while I'm there, which
Yeah.
isn't very often, I'll just use Wi-Fi.
But is your laptop connected to your home Wi-Fi in addition to being hardwired? Because maybe you got both connected and for some reason it's favoring the Wi-Fi at times. Because laptops have been known to do stupid shit like that.
Apparently, it's not. I mean, the Wi-Fi is on, but I don't look like it's connected.
Okay. All right. Well, that was just a possibility. Well, you know what? It could be. I don't know. But you know what? Well, you know what we might try doing? What we might try doing is launching Grand Theft Auto and seeing that now that we've had a successful speed test, maybe the problem that was happening in the first hour has cleared itself.
Just gone away.
Yeah. So start GTA, and if it starts fucking up and you can't hear me, just close it.
Okay.
Out.
All right. Now, should I jump out of here first?
No, I don't think.
Because that's been our procedure. I start up Grand Theft Auto first.
Yes, but the reason we did that procedure is because it happened to work that one time, but it hasn't worked every time.
We've done it that worked. That's worked the best. Let me just jump out really quick.
I think it's like the rock that repels.
Anyway,
doors.
I got to go pee, so I'm jumping out.
Well, I guess I didn't have a choice in the matter. He put the fidget down, and then he goes to the cord. Thank you, guys. No, well, the cord's just here. It just happens to be here, you know? So Brian's going to go pee, and I don't know. I like this, but I get bored of it. Anyways, you know what we're going to do? We mentioned this some on the Dune and Johnny show yesterday. Is that I found a TikTok channel that I am now a fan of, and this is just me, being late to the game because of course it's already popular, and so if you haven't already, you need to check out B. Dylan Hollis on the TikToks because he's it's brilliant. It's a baking channel, but he did the ingenious thing of compiling a video about baking into a 60-second clip for one recipe. And that's great because most of the things he bakes are things that you would never want to try to bake for yourself anyways. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share over here onto my TikTok tab here. And I just want to, bring up a few examples here so that you could go check this out after the show on your own time. So, for example, we got like poor man's rice. And
how do you make rice without rice? I say it's impossible, but our friends from the 70s disagree. We start with a third cup of water. I hate third cups. I don't have a reason and I don't need one. 3 egg geese. Water and eggs. How very rice-like. Pinch of salt. 2 cups of flour. I don't know where this is going either. Probably downhill. We're looking for a breadcrumb consistency. Not me. I'm looking for why. Thought rice was the poor man's food. I would know. I have a music degree. Time for hands. More flour if needed. What? Done. I think. I don't know. Now into a very large pot goes 3 quarts of water. Stock cubes. I'm using beef. Fire! Get in!
It's like the world's worst oatmeal.
Cook for 12 minutes.
What?
I don't... What? It's not unpleasant. Tastes like overcooked pasta. It feels like oatmeal and looks terrible. It evokes nothing of rice, and I don't know why this exists. Poor man's rice from 79.
So there you go. Poor man's rice. And, it is clam biscuits, liver cakes, avocado ice cream, dump cake, pound cake, poor man's pie. Some of the things are good. Most of the things are not. Now this one I might actually want to try. Peanut butter bread.
Butter bread from the Great Depression. Now, the Depression was rough, and while some people like it that way, the world of baking didn't. Butter, sugar, and eggs were scarce, but there was shelf-stable peanut butter. Start with 2 cups of flour, a pinch of salt, only a 1/4 cup of sugar, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Is that a typo? We want the bread to rise, not generate thrust. On this episode of Bread Goes to Space, mix. In goes 1 1/3 cup of moo juice, that's milk. Now the 1/2 cup of peanut butter. You know, Peter Pan came out in 1928. Brave king. I waited until 2019. Get him. Fold. I don't know about this. There's not much to it. Meow. Bake at 325 for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. Well, it smells divine. That's a good crumb. Man. This is stellar. It's perfectly peanut buttery and sweet. So good with so little. This is why I bake. Peanut butter bread from the...
So there we go. Now, we got some people asking about the dump cake. And dump cakes is a thing. I mean, I've seen TV infomercials about dump cakes. And I think the name says it all, but he's going to show us how to make a dump
From
cake.
68. So post-World War II saw the invention of the cake mix, but for some Americans that was still too much work. And so the dump cake was invented. Let's take a dump. Directly into an oiled baking dish goes 20 ounces of pie filling. Goodbye, cherries. Then we just dump cake mix on top. This is sacrilegious, preposterous, daft. Melt a cup of butter. Then you just dump that on too. Then you get to bake your dump. Golly gee. $3.75 for 50 minutes. This is for people who hate baking, and I don't like those people. We have a done dump. It's fresh. Fresh dump. It's an unenthusiastic cobbler. I mean, yeah, it's all right, but it's all wrong. If you're going to bake, bake. A cake should be an occasion, not a disfigured dump on a plate. The dump cake from
So there you go. That's how a dump cake works. Brian's still not back, so maybe we'll try another one, perhaps. Here we go. The spaghetti Jello ring.
Jello ring from the 60s. Now, I've been unable to confirm whether or not this recipe actually existed in the 60s. Not that I particularly want to, but seemingly everybody and their dog has sent me this. Into a saucepan goes a 1/4 cup of tomato soup, 1/4 cup of water. Now 2 packs of gelatin. Wonder what demon will summon today. Fire! Now that this is completely smooth, we remove from heat and add 2 cans of SpaghettiOs. Is life insurance expensive? Into a bunt. Good night. Ooh. Did I mention there were sausages? Because there are sausages. I don't want to do it. That is unnatural. It's like a morgue. I need a hug. A spaghetti-o Jello ring from the 60s.
I don't think we need to watch that again. Anyways, Brian is back in the room, and Oxygen goes, okay, that's gross as hell. So, Brian, do we have sound? Being that he's not responding to me, I'm guessing that means no, we do not. And Dune is ugh. Yeah, there you go. There are some recipes I don't need to try, and most of them involve Jell-O. But I tell you, pear pineapple salad with the Jell-O mold is pretty good because it's just fruit and Jell-O. Sparky Toaster has a question. Okay, Sparky, what's your question? Because it looks like I actually get to answer questions now that he's back. So I guess that didn't work.
Hey, Sparky, what was your question? Oops, my dead screen is still there.
Now, Sparky writes in, how do we know Brian's issue is not his computer? Well, being that some weeks it works without any issue for a full 2 hours, and some weeks it doesn't work at all, I'm looking for something that changes week to week, something that is a variable. So it could be some hardware issue on his computer that for some reason is not
it
happening
just
all the
isn't
time.
likely. Yeah.
But, being that we improved it one time by turning off the webcam, that to me has solidified the whole bandwidth issue in my head.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of investigating on that this week, and we've not found a solid bandwidth issue. So
Right.
we're kind of back to ground zero. But Zoe Balls has entered the room. Hello,
Hey, Zoe!
OX64 points out intermittent. Oh, that's easy. Microsoft update malware.
Actually, I did get an update, I think, recently.
Now, Sparky points out it does
Good
not
point.
prove that it's not your computer. That's true, but see, I keep getting stuck on the whole thing that his hardware has worked perfectly fine many times. So I'm trying to think. So now I'm looking at updates. Maybe check for a driver update for your video card because those update frequently. Maybe even roll the video card back to a previous. The problem is we can't troubleshoot this off the show because it's only. Notice it's only a problem. Notice the problem doesn't happen in Grand Theft Auto. So your video card is fine. Your system resources are fine. The only thing that's not fine is your ability to see and hear me while you're playing Grand Theft Auto on your computer,
Yeah.
which takes less resources than the game does. So
Exactly.
that's where I'm kind of like bandwidth, network connectivity.
Well, actually, and to me, I would kind of go with two different things. Not only bandwidth, but also there could be a conflict with audio, whether it's what I hear or what I say through microphone.
And I would go
Microphone
along
or
with that.
speakers.
And I would go along with that if you didn't have the problem seeing my video refreshed when we were testing earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. You would be frozen there. So,
Right, and your sound's
yeah.
coming through perfectly fine. So one direction of sound's working. So it's your downstream that has the problem. You can't get my
Okay,
video.
so you would always hear my voice fine?
I would hear you loud and clear. I would see you loud and clear. Although sometimes your video freezes, but never
Yeah.
your sound. Your sound always works fine.
So we could say that it's not a problem with the microphone.
Right. Now it could, if it were a sound conflict, device conflict, I would expect it to present differently from what I saw.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% certain on that, but I'm enough certain on that I'm not really focused on that.
Yeah.
But then again, whatever the real problem is, I might be completely missing right now.
So I can jump in to our actual stream and see what the ad is this time.
Okay, and while you do that, what we could do is now
Uber Eats. We go.
there you go.
And a
Uber
lady with
Eats.
green hair. Okay.
Sparky Tosa writes in, only have 12 gigs of memory. Imagine saying that in 2000. Yeah. Computer couldn't take 12 gigs of memory in 2000.
I know it. I know it.
I don't know. Well, did Windows 2000 have a 64-bit version? I think XP was XP was the first home consumer one that had a 64-bit version, and it wasn't that popular. Zoe Balls writes in, not until a year ago, I was playing and streaming on a dual-core Pentium with 8 gig RAM. Nice.
Sweet.
I respect that. My only question is, why aren't you still doing that? Not why did you do that, but why that machine still does the streaming. Nice. I approve. That's Gators approved right there.
So let me ask this question, Zoe. Are you using multiple computers for your streaming experience? Does that
Sounds
sound what
like
I'm-
that's what she's saying. And I'm sure she'll elaborate on that. But what I would recommend at this point, Brian, is we might want to think about getting a Bluetooth headset synced up to one of your iPads and joining StreamYard from that. And just, when we do the show, join StreamYard from a separate device from your gaming computer.
Yeah.
Because we're not capturing your gaming stream anyways.
Does anybody make a dual headphone?
A
In other words,
dual.
one that has a pair of speakers for the tablet, or one device, and then a connection to the other device.
Well, maybe if you get two Bluetooth receivers that have headphone jacks on them, and then you get a pair of quadraphonic headphones, that would have 2 1/4-inch jacks on the headphones, so you could like hook up one device to the front speakers and the other one to the rear, and then you can listen to Grand Theft Auto and me at the same time on the quadraphonic headphones. That was the most logical way I could come up with that. That's a lot of Bluetooth. Zoe writes in, Brian, it's called a mixer. You see, Brian's not one of us. We kind of just let him in.
Well, no, actually, that's
no.
a good
You're
point.
absolutely. I didn't mean it like that. You're not a traditional
mixer.
streamer.
I have a mixer for. It's right behind me. A mixer for my microphones. I would need a mixer of sorts for my speakers, right?
You would need a mix. Well, how many inputs does that mixer have?
One, two, three, four, five. It's
1, 2, 3,
6,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
It's 6
11,
channels.
12. All right, 6 channels. So so a stereo pair from one device. So like, do you have another laptop that's could do StreamYard?
Yeah, I could do. Actually, I have this Linux laptop that would work.
Of course, then you need to have sends because you need to send your microphone without sending other sounds out to that. This would be so much easier if I still lived close to you, because then I could just come visit you one afternoon and we could work on this together. Now, Sparky wants to know the clock speed of your CPU.
I'm trying to think. Where is the about information for this device system?
Okay. Well, while he looks that up, Sparky Toaster has a mixer in his kitchen. It's used for mashed taters and cake mixes. Well, if you did dump cakes, you wouldn't need the mixer, but you could probably use it to mix up a nice Jello spaghetti-o mold. So now Zoe has a 12-channel mixer, the sort you use when gigging, same one that she had on WBRN. So
okay, so I got the answer. So it's
the answer.
Core i7.
Okay. Oh, that's some serious.
And
computing.
a 3.8 gigahertz.
Okay.
Of course, this is a 64-bit system, right? It tells me that I'm Microsoft 10 Home.
Yeah. Now, Sparky
How many
Toaster ain't eating no
cores is
dump
that?
cakes.
Installed memory. Oh, I only have 16 gigs.
Is that all?
Yeah. Oh, it is 64-bit operating system. There it is.
Well, yeah, there would be that. I got 64 gigs.
Cool.
I got a.
There's a tool from Crucial Memory that can figure out if you got any slots left
there you
on
go.
your machine, and it figures out what machine you have.
Right.
It's a pretty awesome tool. It's like, holy
That's
crap.
cool. Although I don't,
That is good salesmanship, and I have bought memory from them.
and I don't think we're maxing any of those out. The only thing, maybe your browser is maybe even trying a different browser. What browser you use?
I'm using Chrome. We had a problem with Firefox, so I switched to Chrome.
Oh, that's right. Now, Zoe Ball's calling me a show-off because some of us can't afford that. Well, the RAM's not the expensive, but, well, I guess it could be when you start throwing that much in. Yeah, I maxed out my RAM. I was just like, it'd been a long time since I built a PC. I was outdated, so I took a chunk of change and I built a kick-ass desktop with a Ryzen 7 3700X 8-core processor. I should stop showing off, shouldn't I? And
I mean, it's actually interesting to like yeah, what are you using, and does that work? I mean, that's the bottom
Yeah.
line, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is that my GPU is older than all the rest of my hardware because you couldn't buy a new fucking GPU when I built this tower, so I had to go on eBay and buy like a used GTX 1080 Ti, and I paid like what it costs new to buy one that was like 3 years old. So.
Yeah, right.
But you know what? The thing is that I'm not a hardcore gamer that is like, got to be on the bleeding cutting edge of everything. I just, hey, if I'm going to build a desktop, I'm going to buy current stuff and build it to fucking last. Cause I don't build new desktops that often. And I knew I wanted to build something that would work with an Oculus headset. Because my father-in-law had upgraded his Oculus to the new one that doesn't require the sensors, and so the old one was up for grabs to anyone in the family that wanted it for free. So a free Oculus, all I had to do was build a desktop that could handle it. Hell yeah! So I built a.
Actually, a friend of mine just recently got an Oculus, and he was going, "Wow, this is great. This guy is." Let's just say he's not a nerd at all. I mean, he dropped his cell phone, which is some Android phone, I think Samsung,
right,
into the pond in his backyard. Yes, he has a pond in his backyard.
Okay.
The rice didn't recover it. Okay.
So
I had to get a new cell phone. New cell phone, right?
Right.
He lost all of his contact information because he never backed that up.
Oh. That...
the thing I like about the iPhone, for this condition, is the contacts are directly connected to iCloud.
Yeah.
So it's always there.
That is great, unless you don't want it to be there, or unless you have multiple iCloud accounts. Because
I mean, I don't back up with it. I just the contacts are going there, and I didn't have to set it up.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Because at work, people don't carry multiple phones. So if they have a work issued phone, they put their work and their personal accounts on it, or if they have a personal account, they add their work account to it. And so then, they have an iCloud account with their personal email address. They have an iCloud account with their work email address because we set that up when we set up the company phones. And the biggest complaint I get whenever someone upgrades their phone is all my contacts disappeared. I went to go in and type, I got a text message from someone. It just gave me their phone number. I have no idea whose phone number this is. Why doesn't their name show up? And so then I got to go play a game of reset all their fucking iCloud passwords, log into all their fucking iCloud accounts, figure out which one has their contacts, and get it synced up to their damn phone so that they can see who's texting.
That's a problem of multiple iCloud accounts. That's all.
Well, here's the other problem.
And they don't understand it. So the schmuck user, it probably doesn't make a difference.
Now here's the problem. The problem is that if I'm trying to assist someone with accessing their iCloud account and they don't know their password, the easiest way for me to assist someone is to connect to a screen share on their computer and have them do it from the iCloud website. Have you ever tried to reset your iCloud password, Brian?
Thank God I haven't.
Apple does not want to. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to give you the fucking time of day unless you're connecting in with iOS. What? Windows or a website?
Right, but let me.
We don't want to fucking reset the password for there. Fuck you, you fucking Windows user. This is Apple.
I had a recent conversation with a person on Facebook, I think it was, and I was telling that story about this guy with the pond.
Okay.
And I go, does Android have an equivalent to an iCloud where you store your?
I'm sure they have 20.
And why isn't one that's kind of set up to be automatic?
Hey, all my contacts have come with me automatically. I don't know what
Yeah.
If you ask me off the top of my head how I got all my contacts, I don't know. They're just there.
Now, are you saving it through Samsung or through somebody else, or is it Google?
I think it just syncs up to my Google. It's Google. Yeah.
And maybe it's as simple as he never set up his Google.
See,
that's possible, correct?
to me, you got to be trying really hard to lose your contacts because they got to be somewhere. But yeah, my biggest gripe, one of my big gripes with Apple is that they do not want to let you at all change your password unless you do it through iOS. So they basically will tell you through the site that, and if you try to fight them on it, it's basically like, submit a request and someone from service will email you back in 6 to 8 weeks to get a new password. And it's like, what the fuck is that? So they're like, use your phone, go through. So then I got to walk them blind through the phone, and I don't have an iPhone on me to walk through so it's like, how am I supposed to support people if you're gonna? And I gotta say, my biggest gripe with technology these days is we are reaching a point where every answer to every security dilemma is a solution to make things less convenient for the end user.
Oh, absolutely.
Every security solution that has come out in the past 10 years has made,
in fact, like
things.
Everybody
The
wants to have
whole
you turn on the dual verification thing. And that just makes it more complicated. I hate those things.
Oh, yeah, that's the only answer they can come up with is make it even more difficult so that, now your parents and grandparents can't get their email. The whole point of technology is convenience, to make things more convenient for us.
Yeah.
And I understand security is important. I get that. But there's got to be a better way than what we're doing now. Because what we're doing now ain't fucking cutting it. We got to stop making everything fucking impossible to do and find a way to make things convenient again.
If there's anybody that disagrees with Johnny, raise your hand. And I'm not raising my hand.
Yeah. Now, OX64 writes in $1,000 POS iPhone or a $20 Android phone. Pretty easy decision for me.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Switching from Apple to anything else is a pain in the ass. Okay. The worst thing about Apple, I think, is iTunes.
Now,
iTunes is the way to back up your phone. Unfortunately, when you even do an update, it wants you to back up your phone.
Now,
if you want to add a song to your phone, it wants you to back up your phone. It can take 20 minutes to back up your fucking phone. Okay. Can't I do that separately from what I'm there to do? Okay.
Now Sparky writes in, tell them to go to an Apple store, not your problem. And then he goes, wait, or is this a company phone? Yes, when I'm talking about our company phones, and actually my coworker has suggested several times we should just tell them to go to Apple stores. So, but one thing I have to say for the iPhones is that it used to be that I had to jump through. Basically, it used to be if anyone upgraded their phone, I would just tell them, give me your phone when you could be without it for a day. Just come by my desk in the morning, no later than 10. If it's later than 10, you're doing it the next day because I need enough time to do this. And I would have their new phone that would come to me from the order, and I have their old phone. And the first thing I would do is I would start up and activate the new phone, update it to the latest iOS because inevitably a brand new phone out of the box is already out of date. I take their old phone, I apply the iOS update that's pending for there that they've been, delaying the installation of for fucking months. Because if you take it back up off of one phone and then you try to restore it on another phone, first thing it's going to do is bark at you that, hey, this backup was not done on the latest updated. So you want to get them both up to date and current. Take an iTunes backup onto your hard drive of the old phone, restore it onto the new phone, swap the SIM card, sign everything in.
Incidentally, the other thing that's a pain in the ass is the default for a backup under iTunes is to do it to iCloud now.
Right, yeah. But
I forgot to switch it. Damn it. Because the iCloud account I have is not big enough to hold the shit on my phone.
That's a big problem. Is that they default to iCloud. iCloud only has so much space after so many backups. Boom.
Right.
But so that's why I would always just back it up to my hard drive from iTunes.
And that's what I always do. Yeah. I mean,
it's
not even big enough for one backup.
But I will say that since we've been remote, I have had many situations where people get the new iPhone and it does the automated setup, and it basically says, do you have your old phone? Okay, put your old phone next to the new phone. Okay, we'll transfer all the stuff. And I've had some people that come back to me and say, oh, it was real easy. The new phone set up. I'm all set. I've also had some people that said, this completely didn't work. I don't know what's going on. And those are the ones, those are the ones that I got to go around circles with.
I had an iPhone, actually it's still here someplace, 6P, and I upgraded to the 11. Oh, and that's connecting the two devices together. Don't
No.
don't work because the old iPhone doesn't do that.
Well, that's why they make the phones with the batteries that die within a year. So that way you don't have to go from a really old phone to a really new phone. So that way you're
That's
only
right.
go.
But if you pay the monthly service fee, they will give you a new phone with a new battery.
So,
in fact, on the 6P, I replaced it once because of the twisted screen problem.
Right.
Where it crapped out, and once on a dead battery.
So Dune,
and it was getting to the point where it's either get a new battery or get a new phone. I think this time it's time to get a new phone.
Yeah.
The old one isn't really working that
well.
well.
So Dune wrote in what I was talking about, that now you just turn a new phone on, it sees the other and it syncs. And but the thing is that doesn't work every time. And I've had some people that come to me and they go, I turned on the new phone, it's all the old phone, it transferred all my apps over, but all my phone calls are still coming in on the old phone.
Pull the SIM card out of it.
And that's when I basically tell them, you see that pinhole? We'll swap the SIM cards. It didn't finish the job, but just swap the SIM cards.
Right.
So no, that is not perfect technology.
Well, in fact,
either.
like my old, both. I actually have two. I have a 6S. I mean a 4S still.
Okay.
Dead battery. If I pull it off the charger, it'll be dead in 5 minutes. The 6 Plus is around here someplace.
Okay.
That will hold a charge for about an hour. But both of those do not have SIM cards in them.
Now, Zoe points out that she doesn't have any of these problems. She has a Nokia 6300. So yeah, I was just going to look at a Nokia 6300, but the Nokia 6300 page wants to trick me into accepting a bunch of cookies. Reject all. And, I see. So it's got it. You know what? It looks very old school, but I could tell that it's kind of newer than old school because it's got some kind of backing thing. Yeah, let me pull that out and share that. How do the two phones see each other?
My first phone was an old Nokia. I don't recall what model it was. 6300 sounds too new.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's way too new for mine.
Yeah, it's new.
Was that Android or was that Nokia OS?
I don't know. Let's see. Nokia 6300 4G, your conversation starter. Stay connected to everyone you love with WhatsApp and Facebook.
Blah, blah, blah.
So does that qualify as a smartphone, or is it just a selection of apps? So it's got Google Maps. It's got social
full
apps,
specs.
YouTube.
Full specs. You had a full specs there.
Okay, full specifications. There we go. It's loading that. Colors, charcoal. Display 2.4 inch, imaging, rear cam, Bluetooth 4.0, a headphone jack. Hey, you hear that, Apple? They got a headphone jack. Fuck you, Apple. We like headphone jacks.
So the reason why they got rid of the headphone jack is that was the biggest source of bringing in water. So instead of removing the headphone jack, why didn't they have a plug for that?
I remember I had a cassette Walkman sports model that had a plug to go over the headphone jack, and the thing had a watertight seal on it. I never tested dropping it in the swimming pool, but it actually had a little plug on the side to release air pressure in case there was a change in pressure that made the door difficult to open. So that way you could let air in to, that way if you took it on a plane and you had a pressure problem there. So yeah.
But then again, there's a device called the Waterpik water flosser.
Okay.
You would think that it would do better with water.
You'd think, but you know. All right. Oh, KaiOS, KAIOS. I guess that's their Kia or Kia. No, what the hell is KAI? You see, I thought, oh, maybe it's Kia as in Nokia, but no, the A and the I are flipped. So I don't know what that is. But I guess that's their OS. All right, it still looks like a cool device. You know me,
I wonder if it's a derivative of Android.
Probably. I mean, what isn't Android a derivative of Linux? And isn't that what everything's a derivative of?
Yeah.
You know. But yeah. Now, let's see. That's the 4G. Zoe has the old one, the silver one, and OX64 thinks it's awesome and a good price. OX64 has had LG for 3 years now. OX64 writes in her Nokia has FM radio too. I don't want a phone if they've blocked the FM.
Okay, so yeah, KaiOS is based on Linux.
Yeah. Well, right now I've got it was actually interesting because I went to the store and I usually get the phone that's like the cheapest phone that the service provider has that you get a deal on every so many years. And I've been getting LG phones the past few times. And I've looked at the Samsung phones. I used to have a Samsung phone. I liked the Samsung phone. But what happens is every time I go and I look at the phones that are available, I see a Samsung phone with its list of specs, and I see pretty close to it or next to it an LG phone at the same price point with better specs. And so it's like, well, you know, why would I choose the one with lesser specs?
And my feeling is that the Samsung phones are as expensive as the iPhones.
Right. And they're just, you know, and I mean, so an LG phone that's got better specs for the same price as the Samsung equivalent that is, you know, running Android OS, it's essentially going to be the same thing. But better. And so the last time I went, this was a model they had just gotten in. I think, to quote Dune, I like a big one. And I was just repeating the quote. I didn't necessarily go looking for a big phone, but this one came in, and I guess the point of this one is it's your bigger than average phone, and I've been liking it. The problem is that the next time I go get a phone, if they have the normal ones in stock and they don't have a big one, I'm gonna have to get used to a smaller phone again. But I don't know. I might have to stick with this size phone. But this has been working fine, so I'm not expecting to replace it anytime soon. I forget what the model number is on this, though. But it's an LG. It's got small text on it, and I probably need glasses. So I don't know what. You know what I could do? I could probably go look in my Amazon account what I bought a case for.
Here's what cracks me up. iPhone came out with a new third generation of the iPhone SE.
Okay.
This one adds 5G and other things. It's like, aren't the consumer going to get confused on what the heck they're buying? Beats me. Shop phone. And it's cheaper. I don't know how much. Let's see. SE. Here we go. Starts at $400.
Okay, LG K51 is what I have.
Now I know a couple of people, including my brother, that have that Motorola. What is it? Moto, and he really likes it.
Oh, cool.
I think that's also a lot cheaper.
Well, Hestia is demanding her treats, but she's got another 7 minutes to wait. Isn't that right, Hestia? Isn't that right?
Is she still fighting about daylight savings time?
No, she lost that fight, but she, but cats are gonna cat. So she's got her mode. It's wake up Kristen in the morning for breakfast. Bug me during the day for work to get me to, go over on the bed with her and snuggle and rub her belly. And then as it gets close to dinner time, she starts going back and forth between our rooms and meow at each of us about dinner, even though I never feed them their dinner. And then around this time, she comes in and starts begging for treats.
Wait a minute, you never feed her the dinner, and she comes
Kristen-
to you still?
Well, she goes back and forth because she knows Kristen gives her the dinner, but if she meows at Kristen and doesn't get a response, she'll come and meow at me because I give her treats in the evening. And she starts begging for treats, and I'll go give her treats, and she'll leave me alone for about a half hour, and then she'll come beg for treats again, hoping that maybe I forgot that I already gave her treats, even though I have never given her second treats. Oh, but she's great. She, there's some cats that you throw treats at them, and they look at it, and then they casually walk over and they eat it, and there's some cats that they go chasing that thing as it's up in the air, and that's Hestia. Now, Shaniko, she won't, chase the treat. She won't run after the treat. She'll just kind of do the whole look at it. If it's too far, she might even ignore it. Like, what the hell do you throw it over there for? You expect me to walk all the way over there for it? Why don't you go over there, kick that thing over to me? But Hestia, she start like jumping and grabbing for them. So I do the thing where I throw the treats at her head and she jumps up and catches them in her mouth. It's great. Great fun.
Yeah, so there's a version of the Motorola Moto G Pure,
Right.
which is $150.
So anyways, we got about 5 minutes left here, and we need to come up with a game plan to fix our GTA gaming. And I don't know what. Now the thing is if we could get the in-game headset to work, we could probably just stream from I could just stream the game direct, and it might pass that sound along. But we never got our in-game headsets to work. So we might have to play with that some evening this week or sometime this weekend.
Yeah,
see if we can figure that out. Get on a phone
Yeah,
call.
in fact, I've turned it on
Mm-hmm.
a couple of times, and hello, nothing.
I'm gonna.
So maybe the average person doesn't turn it on.
I will say I've done Grand Theft Auto Online on PS3 and PS4 and PC. PS3 and PS4, there are always noisy idiots with headphones turned on.
No.
On the PC, at times I've intentionally turned on the headset sounds to see if something comes through, because sometimes it's entertaining. Sometimes it's entertaining to hear some kid arguing with their parent about dinner or something like that, or some shit like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get on an open mic. But no, I've rarely gotten an open mic on PC. People don't use
Here's
it on
the
PC.
Here's the other weakness.
Okay.
You can't do hand signals. The only thing you can do is punch, right? Or shoot the guy.
There are
Why
ways
can't
to
there be a
do-
hand signal like tap your head,
I think there
talk
are,
or whatever?
I think there are, but I'm only speaking from what I've observed, because I've watched a lot of. There are streamers that they just stream. Well, there's YouTube content creators that they create content playing these games and then edit them. Vanoss, H2O Delirious. What's that guy with the really strong accent? But there's a group of them.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched YouTube videos.
And I sometimes see them when they're hanging out, because they always edit the videos that you only see the GTA content and them talking in it. And sometimes some of them will start pointing at things, but it's not seamless. It's, I don't know what they do. I think there's certain gestures that you can set, and then you can trigger it to do the gesture. But I don't know how they do that. So you know what? We have homework to do. We both have homework to do.
Oh yeah. Well, we're really just getting started.
We really are.
I mean,
yeah.
We're actually getting to places without crashing into people or things.
Now you say we.
I did kill a guy today by mistake.
By mistake.
Drove over him.
You drove over an actual real life other player.
No, it wasn't a player. It was just a computer guy. And I did run over a girl earlier, and she got up.
There you go. Some of them get up. Sometimes it takes a lot to kill a person. Anyways, on that note, this draws a close another fun-filled edition of
Insert title here.
But we do try to be educational here, and I think we've learned a little bit here. So, Brian, what have you learned this week?
I learned, I kind of learned that we really haven't solved my problem yet. I thought it was going away because, like last week we did okay, right?
And I've learned that this problem is not as simple as I thought it was. And I've also learned that you like to spray a bunch of water in your mouth. So
Spray a bunch of water in my mouth.
Well, your water floss pick thing.
Oh.
I tell you,
That could be a whole funny other episode.
I gotta tell you one last little thing here. I go to the dentist on and off throughout my lifetime, and usually going to the dentist involves a person with a piece of sharp metal that they put in your mouth as they tell you that you shouldn't put sharp pieces of metal in your mouth.
Yeah.
But they're a professional; they get paid to do that.
And
Have you ever-
you're actually paying a person to put sharp metal objects in their mouth. Your mouth.
Now, have you ever had an alternate to that? Have you ever gone to the professional that prefers to use water to a sharp piece of metal?
I have. Actually, in fact, I think this dentist will use some of that. In fact, like this last cleaning,
Yeah,
he was using a water device,
yeah.
and then in the end, he switched to the metal picks.
Well, the latest dentist I've been going to, the dental hygienist there, she likes the water thing. She always asks me if I'm okay with it first, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Use what sharp metal, really powerful water. It all sucks. Yeah, just you know what?
Let's just not use your fist.
Yeah, just don't use. Well, here's one thing I learned is never take a 10-year break from going to the dentist, because that first visit after 10 years of not going, oh my God, is that a heck of a teeth cleaning. So you go every 6 months, and it's easy peasy after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this person I've gone to the last 2 times, she does this, spray water everywhere. And here's the thing. This is what happens every time. She gets to the part of my mouth that's sensitive. I damn near jump out of my seat and do a little wriggling, and she goes, "Oh, okay. Next time, let me know your upper left or your upper right or let me know that one." And she tells me that twice now, and I have no idea which quadrant that was that she told me. So I'm not going to find out until I get in that chair again in another 6 months.
Hey, let's get a Sharpie and mark it. Why do you have that black teeth? Well, it's that Sharpie that we marked that tooth with.
There you go. Yeah, we should. Now, Sparky learned that Johnny will soon need a new headphone cord, and that fidget spinners do nothing for him. Now, this cord is relatively
Sparky,
new
that's the best
still.
line yet.
And 5-hit tune fist bumped. He went there. Okay. So, yeah, we need to figure out how to fix Grand Theft Auto, and I don't know where to go next, but we'll both think about it. We'll both tweak some things, and who knows, maybe
I need to research modem choices, I think. I to be honest, I have not done that.
Yeah, but
on the list.
My gut feeling is that it isn't a modem issue. I don't feel like we've really zeroed in on a piece of hardware here. But I feel like I feel there's definitely a resource issue, and it's definitely a resource issue that would be resolved by setting up a 2-machine solution. It's just that a 2-machine solution is gonna cause problems because you got your GTA sounds there and your StreamYard sounds there, and so then you need to set up a mixer, which up to this point you haven't been. And that gives and then I have to support that. So anyways, we're going to go find someone to raid is what we're going to do. So let me go see and who's live right now. Because, we got lots of great options out there. There's always lots of great streamers. I mean, heck, Velvet 7 streaming right now. Dresdy? Who's Dresdy? I don't remember that one. But that's a music channel. Let's see. Noel Ray Waters is streaming right now.
That's the only 2 that I show. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What's all right? So let's see. So Dresdy is singing and playing guitar, and Noel Ray Waters is sitting in front of a keyboard.
Medusa, yeah.
You know what? I think we're going to check out Noel Ray Waters. Is what we're going to do. We're going to see what she's doing. So
Sound good.
Yeah, let me go ahead and type in the command, and we'll see you all next week, hopefully with some more updates about Brian's GTA, and maybe we'll get to answer the questions about that car with those surprises. So we got that to look forward to as I talk and type.
And we can demonstrate some new techniques.
There we go. Dune says, throw money at it. Oh, yeah, that's my favorite solution to all life's problems. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up.
The true villain in the story. So
there we go.
That'd be cool.
And we've rated.
Cool. All right.
Good show. Catch you next week.
Hey, we got a
See you next week.
raid.
Yep. Good night.